Such a good girl. That's the wrong thing. Okay. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Avalanche pregame show. We got Big E and Rudos. The Avs are taking on the Minnesota Wild, and we're taking over Ball Arena. So if you're watching this, we're probably at the arena right now. But for you at home enjoying this, E, I have one big question for you on tonight's game.
Yep.
Not necessarily regarding how it goes, how it plays, but who would you rather be today?
I know what you're going to say.
Would you rather be a Minnesota team
That's right.
in the lead in the standings, but decimated by injury at the moment, at least on their forward side? Or would you rather be the Avs trying to chase them down, have had an up and down season, but are as healthy as they've been this year right now?
And I'll tell you my answer, because I knew you were going to come up with that. And if you don't follow Rudo on Instagram, follow him.
Don't follow me on Instagram.
No, on Instagram, sorry.
But Twitter.
X, whatever it's called. I'll tell you why. Because about an hour ago, I was scrolling down and I read his tweet, and it's so true. He said something like that, don't quote me, a good deadline and some good health, and the Avs can go for it. And I totally agree with you. And that's why, with that question you just said there, I agree with you. I'd rather be a Colorado Avalanche right now. I mean, I totally, it's not being biased. This is, there's no way. God. There's no way. You know, I mean, you've hit it like all year long. Like now you're on your upswing, and go and feel the swag and feel good, and don't worry about the deadline this week. I know it's easier said than done. I was a player once. It is nerve-wracking for some guys, but go out there and win some games. You're at home. It's great. So why not? You started the last game. Keep it up tonight.
I mean, the reality of the Avs post-Cup, 2 of the 3 years they've been decimated by injury.
Agreed.
And multiple times they've had not injury-related, but players unavailable in the playoffs. So realistically, if this team can be reasonably healthy down the stretch and reasonably healthy in the playoffs, are they perfect? No. Do they need to get better at the deadline? Yes. But just a little bit of injury luck alone would make their lives a whole lot more comfortable. Unfortunately, that's something you can only do so much to control, and you still have to go out there and perform every single night. But when you look at a team like Minnesota, who has had injury trouble, we saw the Avs blow them out 2 games ago when they played. They played another game against Minnesota, didn't go as well. Yeah. But you can see just how much it's affecting these other teams that are ahead of the Avs in the standings. They're struggling just as much, if not more than the Avs with these injury type of issues. Maybe we should be giving the Avs a little bit more credit for getting through all of that.
Yeah, and for me, that's why. And there's the difference between, let's say, this year and 2 years ago. Go back to the Seattle series that year, the year after the Cup. A lot of injuries, a long, obviously, spring and a short summer, and the Avs chased that division title, right? You know what I mean? And they just kind of ran out of steam in the playoffs. Yep. This one, a little different. When I say chase, you want to win every game. That's not what I'm saying, but of course, we all know they're not.
That's not reality.
It's not real. They're not going to win the division this year. If you think so, then it's going to be an unbelievable turn of events for, Winnipeg, Dallas, and the Avalanche. You know what I mean? They're going to go undefeated, run the table. The other guys are going to.
Winnipeg could lose out and might still win the division.
You know what I mean?
That's how far ahead they are.
It's all due respect to anybody. That's what I'm saying. But I think this year, they hit it in a different situation than 2 years ago. And then I do believe that if they can get a little bit of steam right now, because it's so funny, the schedule was so bad. And, just remember that. What is it, November? There were 22 days out of 30, or whatever, 23 days out of 29 on the road.
It was outrageous.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
and they survived it. And, now I'll take advantage of it. You're home for these 6 games here. This is your longest
You got
home, and it
breaks.
just happens.
You have one of the easiest schedules left.
Exactly.
Yep.
Trade deadlines there, so you're not on the road, like you're at home. I don't know. Take advantage of it, and then just go in an upswing and feel good and have some swag, because as we know, when you have the best player in the NHL, the best forward, the best D, and you have solid, outstanding goaltending right now, you can win any game you want. And I think if you feel the swag right now, if you can keep it up and build up, Bob the Builder from last game where the depth scored and the second line scored and your power play scored, you could be a force to be to be reckoned with. And that's not being biased, that's just being honest. And your tweet was so awesome. A good deadline and some health, the Avalanche can be, what'd you say?
Contender. That's not the word I used.
Whatever, something like that. So follow Rudo, Twitter.
Dude,
smart guy.
Also, make sure you're checking out my YouTube videos. Something I mentioned in my last review. The Colorado Avalanche cannot be a one-line team. If they want to be successful, they cannot be. And look, last game was great. It went well. But let's be honest, your top line put you in a position to win. And I love that your depth guys got off Schneid. I love that they got goals. But let's be real, those goals weren't all that meaningful to the outcome of that game. A, how badly did the Avs need an important depth goal tonight? And B, how does it matter when that depth is getting their goals? Or are you fine with the garbage time?
No, what I think what it does last game was it Logan that got the last one?
It was the fifth one was Logan, and then Casey was yeah.
What it does, it just kind of it makes you breathe, right?
Yep.
As an individual, as a line, as Parker Kelly makes a nice play there. Logan puts it in. It just makes the monkey off your back. You know what I mean? It makes you breathe a little bit. And then you're right. Carry. That's why I say Bob the Builder. Carry it on to today. Get out there and get the first goal of the game. How much I'm a big first goal of the game. I'm a big first goal. I think it dictates the rest of the game usually. Go out there and get the first one today. Why not? Challenge yourself.
Please. I would feel
you
really
got
good
one,
about
like
it,
you
yeah.
said, a non-important one. I think it was important to them, but it wasn't important to the game. So now, like you said, let's get out there and make it, get an important one. Go get an important one. Make sure that you're doing your job, and everybody kind of carries, the flag and jump on board. Bring everyone down to the fight with you. If you're a fourth liner, third liner, McKinnon, McCarr, let's go. Everybody jump. I always say that. Everybody ropes, everybody rides.
All right. I got one key for you. The Avs need to be dogs tonight, just like Bessie here.
See, Bessie's on the show.
Good girl.
Oh.
You got 3 keys for us beyond being a dog. What you got?
Yeah, Bob the Builder. Let's see. Key number 1 today. I'm just trying to say, get after it. Get after it right away. Key number 1. Back to back for the Wild. They got thumped on last night. 6-1 against Clayton Keller. That was not picked for Team USA. And I think he was trying to tell GM Billy Guerin, you should have taken me. You know what I mean? I like that. Key injuries, right? Eriksson Ek, Kaprizov. Those are guys that are just hurt your lineup, when they're not in there. So take advantage of it. Avs are fresh. So you know what? Give them another thumper like last night. Number 2, divisional importance. If you want to catch the Wild, you're tie them with points today after if you win.
Wild has games in hand.
That's right. No, they would have 1 game in hand.
The one, you're right, because they played last night. You're right.
So let them hear you. Let them hear you. Let them hear the footsteps coming up, and from behind and catching you. And as you know, you mentioned the word Colorado Avalanche to people, to Bill Guerin, to the Minnesota Wild. They're like, oh yeah, this is a good team. So now if they feel that they're tied in the standings and they're missing some key ingredients, they can go on a slide, and then you go on an upswing, and then you never look back. So very important divisional matchup tonight. Number 3, we talk about it all the time, playoff habits and mindset. Listen, tonight, the Wild's a great road team. They have been 21-7-3 this year. That is an impeccable road record. So there's not going to be a lot of room out there. They're trying to, I hate to say that, but try to go win that, especially without the people that they're missing. You know what I mean? Like, that is a very deep hole in their lineup up front. Maybe they try to go win that game 1-0. They got 16 shots last night. on net against Utah. That's what they produced.
nothing.
So they're, you know what I mean?
They're down bad right now.
Exactly. So the details and the grinding attitude and execute and smart puck possession. There won't be a lot of room sometimes, but then use your speed to create it. Back them off, and let's go and get them pinned down. As we all know in a Segababa, you know, if things don't go well on the first period for your team, it is tough to climb back. But if you let them hang around, then a team in a Segababa can find a lucky bounce or some legs, not legs, but a little bit of life in the third period. As we all know, it's tough to have legs in the third period. So get after them right away. Stomp on them like she's eating those treats
I want
right
this
now.
level of tenacity. She chases down treats the way I want Avs to chase down pucks tonight.
She's like
all right?
me, like forechecking a cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's
at
go. You think they might have cheeseburgers in the suite tonight? We'll
Maybe.
see. That might be an
Little
option.
sliders.
Look, it really was crunch time already coming back out of the break. And the reality of the conversation for the Avs right now is, for the umpteenth time this season, you kind of dug yourself a hole by losing the first 2 games back. So you're not there yet. And yes, you should feel confident that you have the ability to win, but you need to understand that, especially against a divisional opponent like you mentioned, this is pretty much another must-win for Colorado.
Yes, and I'm going to use math here. Let's go like this. Right
Oh,
before
God,
the
Big
break.
E's using math.
Oh, God. Big education here. St. Lawrence University. I didn't graduate, but I went. Did I attend class? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, me either, buddy.
All
Me
right.
either.
But don't do that. Kids at home. 4-1 before the break, right? Playing decent hockey. 4-1 before the break. You come back from the Four Nations break. They played decent. We'll give them that one. They lost the game, right? You know what I mean?
They still lost.
They still lost. 4-2. And I'm going to give them the St. Louis game because I like to play golf sometimes on weekends. And I'm going to give them a mulligan, okay? Because it was absolutely, you take on the dogs right here, dog poo-poo. They were dog poo-poo. They were not good. It was bad to the point of I couldn't sleep that night. We had red flags. You were panicking. I was panicking. This is not good. So give him that as a mulligan, okay? So 4-2, then you win last night, 5-2. So win tonight, you get on that pace of 6-2. I know it's 6-3. That's what I'm trying to say. But 6-2 pace, I like that. So win that game. And you have to challenge yourself about must-wins. And internally, you have to feel that it's a must-win. Absolutely, it's a must-win.
I'm going to take a different approach.
Yes.
I'm not giving him the mulligan, but as we said all season, it's not the loss, it's how you respond.
That's right.
If you rattle off a bunch in
Fair.
a row here, who cares about
Fair.
that loss?
Fair.
And this is game 61. So technically, this is the start of a new stretch of 10. Go 10-0. Your goal should be to go 10-0 in this stretch of 10.
And Bednar talks about his segments all the time, as you know. And that's important. And you're set up so nice with those 6 games at home to go and make a run for that segment. And guess what? After that segment, you're at game 70. As a player, it hits you when it's game 70. It does. You're tying your skates that night, it's 70. You're like, oh my God, 12 games left. Are you serious? Where did the year go? It's over. You know what I mean? Like, and then the fun part is starting. So it's crazy how it does and what it does to your psyche. You know what I mean? So this is a very important segment. This is a segment that they need to challenge themselves. They need to tell themselves that they're must wins every game. And then, you know, carry yourself into game 70 and then figure out the end and go from there.
And if your goal is go 10-0 and you go 8-2, you did pretty well.
That's it. What is it? Shoot for the moon and whatever.
Shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever.
All right. You mentioned Bednar. He did talk at Morning Skate, so let's hear what he had to say about facing the Wild tonight.
All right, guys.
Obviously, big implications on this one tonight, standings-wise, division-wise. What's the message in the room?
Same as the message was last game. It's an important game, right? I don't think anything changes. It's the same, but like all of our guys know what the standings look like. You know, just like they knew going into Nashville and St. Louis and then coming home, like they're big games. And I loved our response last game, and the message is like, we don't need to be uptight about this one. You know, we need to focus and prepare on what we need to do and go have fun competing, you know, and was the message last time. We should be embracing this stretch run, for multitude of reasons that we talked about. We talked about where we were in the past and what we thought of going down the stretch run and playing teams that had to compete for a spot, and we're now one of those teams, and you should enjoy this part of the competition, playing meaningful games and fighting for that spot that we want. And no better way than tonight against Minnesota, a team that's sitting within striking distance of us.
You mentioned execution after the game the other night. Mackenzie Blackwood talked about how he felt like everybody executed on the game plan almost flawlessly. Like, how do you, when you go over the game, are you talking about that aspect? Like,
yes.
You talked about doing this and you did it?
Yes. Yeah. So, there's things that we didn't like about our previous games, and so whether it's work ethic, competitiveness, second effort on pucks, being really hard to play against in a bunch of different areas, or if it's like our breakout details or how we need to fight to get to the interior of the ice offensively, those were a handful of things that we picked out after the first 2 games that were sporadic and that needed to improve. So then basically the way I handle it is I start watching the game and making notes while it's going on, and then look through things on video, and if it's the way I thought it was and as good as I thought it was, I'd relay that message, show them clips of all of it. And like I told them, you should feel good about, we're trying to avoid riding this roller coaster of emotions, right? We lose and we're down in the dumps, and then we win and we feel great, but you should feel good about the way you played, and you should be happy that you had to go out and work as hard as you possibly could and compete as hard as you possibly could to go get the job done. That's what this game's all about, going to beat the guy across from you and the team across from you. And our guys did that the other night, and they should feel good about it. They should feel good that they can come in and repeat or better that performance here tonight.
I remember back on opening night when Columbus was here, Jack Johnson said his favorite part about playing here was that this team didn't ride the highs too high or the lows too low.
Yeah.
That was October. It's February. When did that change? Where it feels like you guys are down in the dumps after losses.
Well, I don't. I just think after that St. Louis game, it was a hard one to get over. If you look at our record over all the segments, I touched on it yesterday.
Yeah.
We kind of are what we are, right? And we're trying to push that to get incrementally better for this segment and the next one, because we're going to need to get better to win to get in a spot and to win in the playoffs, So we're still building it, but I don't feel like we're not running these big losing streaks and big win streaks this year. We're grinding for every point on a nightly basis, and we haven't had as much success as we would have liked to this point, but that doesn't mean that can't change.
You said Manson was improving yesterday. Is he possibly on his homestand, or is he?
I don't know. Yeah, we're not at a timeline yet. So, he skated again today. He's making progress. He's in that building phase to get to the point where he can join our team, but I don't know when that's going to be.
Good. Same lineup tonight?
Same lineup, yeah.
Thank you.
So there you go. Same lineup as the other night. As expected, obviously they played well. I don't know why you would change it up. But I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think is the most consistent thing in the Avs lineup?
What has it been this year?
Yeah.
You mean lineup wise, or the way they play?
No.
Or?
They're from caliber of play.
What's the most?
I'll give you an answer if you don't have one.
Yeah.
It's Mackenzie Blackwood. He's been straight nails for them in net
I see
consistently.
what you're saying. Yeah. I agree with
when
you.
you're talking about a team that's been wildly inconsistent, when you're looking for an anchor to play off of consistently, I think Mackenzie Blackwood is that guy. And don't get me wrong, the top guys are great. They're amazing. They regularly score 1 million points. Fine. But night in and night out, the guy you're looking to, the guy that when the Avs aren't playing well gives them a chance, the guy that when the Avs are playing well makes the games easy, it's Mackenzie Blackwood. So hopefully that's something that they can use as a rock to raft off of.
And when he was acquired by the Avalanche, go back to that first 10 games, absolutely ridiculous numbers.
Yep.
But guess what? It's a silver platter right now. Look at the numbers you can put up for these next 10 games.
Yep.
Go and do it. You know what I mean? And he's done it. And then there was a couple games where he gave up 2 or 3, and we were like, oh, God, oh, man. You know what I mean? I know you're not going to be
his bad
not
games
human.
are giving up 3.
That's
buddy.
what I mean. He's not going to be not human. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what he's got in the tank. I do believe in the big fella. He got the nice haircut yesterday. Not yesterday, but lately, and then I saw him yesterday on the tarmac there at Southwest Airline. I don't know if you saw that on the news, but he was like filling up the fuel, the
jet fuel,
planes,
baby, yeah.
and he was like doing the luggage, and him and Wedgwood, the Home Depot, whatever they're called, Wedge
the
Brother,
lumberyard,
the lumberyard was hard at work with Southwest yesterday, and then saw that on the news there. So they seem to be having fun. I think he's really enjoying his time here in Colorado. Again, the great part's coming up here in the spring. So
Wedgie and the Yeti, they call him.
Wedgie
That's
and the
their
Yeti.
band.
That would be an unbelievable band with a guitar and
Just to back up Blackwood's play, as we feel like he maybe came back down to earth. We knew the start here wasn't sustainable.
No.
His comeback down to earth is still a .922 save percentage and a goals against average of 2.12.
yeah, here you go.
Those are silly good numbers.
Yeah, he was out of his mind to superb. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
right.
can't go wrong with that.
It's really impressive. It goes a long way that the Avs have that behind them.
Yep.
And if for no other reason, go out there and start playing some better hockey for that guy. He's earned some wins from you. Go help him out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure you're getting there. Make sure you're doing that. Let's also get into my bets where I probably did not bet for Blackwood tonight, if I'm being honest, with our pregame picks that are never ordinary from Bet365. I took the over. I took the over tonight. I'm hoping that's more the Avs potting a bunch of goals than it is
7-1.
Minnesota. But you're plus money on the over. A Cale Makar goal is plus 260 anytime tonight. So I went with Cale to pot one. And then we've got a little boosted parlay. If you take the Avs to win and both Nichushkin and Val to get 3 shots on goal, plus 325. Val had 5 the other
Saw
night.
that. No, I know. And
You know?
Nature's is good for.
Good for a few at least. Hopefully he gets to 3. You're looking at a good little chunk of change there from Bet365. So go in with Bet365. You can bet on any of the games tonight. Of course, we'll be at the Avs game, so that's why we're betting on it. But jump in with them. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER-E. Gambler today? He might have to call the number. Anyway, E. Crystal ball time.
Yes, sir.
We're in the building. What are we about to see tonight?
I'm going to see. I like your over. I'm feeling it. I'm telling you, I'm feeling it. Optional skate this morning. I think this is the time of year where, they start popping off a couple guys. I'm going to go, just to help your bet there, the over. I'm going to go 6-1
Let's go.
Avalanche. And I'm taking again Nichushkin for a hat trick. It's plus 10,000. So I'm doing it. I'm doing it
The
again.
nuke trick again.
All I'm going to say is he was shooting the puck this morning at morning skate. It was an option. It was like 5 guys on the ice. And he was taking one-timers and, like clappers and wristers. And he was just picking the corner. I was like, okay, I'm betting it. I'm doing it.
Feeling
Getting
it.
a hat trick.
I like the 6-1. I'm going to say 5-2.
Fair.
I'm going to change it up just a little bit. But I mean it. I want to see the Avs depth roll in and score important goals. I don't want garbage time goals tonight. I'm going with Ross Colton. You saw him look pumped. He got that point the other night. Hopefully that gets the mental switch flipped a little bit for that guy and something starts going the right way. He puts one in the back of the net. His last goal came against Minnesota. It was a freebie.
Yeah.
But it did come against Minnesota. So
And he had that face.
yeah.
So maybe that's his lucky team.
I'm saying, find a way to get yourself back in the mode and get yourself going with that. It should be a fun game either way. Hopefully the Avs show up and play the way they're capable. Again, very close to a must-win if you're Colorado. If you're serious about moving up in the standings still in the Central Division, it's pretty much a must-win to take down Minnesota tonight, and Minnesota should be a vulnerable team. So the option should be there. Any final thoughts on this one, E, before we wrap this thing up?
No. Let's get Ball Arena popping tonight in the suite. It's gonna be fun, and let's see some goals, and let's all win our bets with Bet365. Let's go.
The game's certainly going to be sweet, SUITE for you and me, buddy.
Yes.
So that'll be that. We are going to wrap up this pregame show. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us. If you're checking out the postgame, it will be a little bit late tonight because we are at the arena. We're going to have to drive back and get all set up. Well, bus back, really. But we will still have a postgame. It'll just be late night. So
It's like herding cats.
tune into that. We appreciate all y'all for hanging out, and we will see you after the game. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, and we'll see you later.
We all silly like the mayor.